Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're having a good morning, afternoon, evening, nighttime, whatever time it is, wherever you are. So now we are going to finally. It's about time I started doing some Lord of the Rings figures. I had promised to do them weekly, but between health and a million things coming out, I have not been able to, but I'm going to work on keeping that promise. So, a tall and evil shape mounted upon a black horse. The rider was robed all in black, and black was his lofty helm. Yet this was no Ringwraith, but a living man. His name is remembered in no tale, for he himself had forgotten it. From the Return of the King. This is the Mouth of Sauron ToyBiz figure. He's a Black Numenorian. I'll get into all that later. The lore, we're going to do the lore part separately. As always, I'm going to do the actual review of the figure, which happens to be one of my favorite figures of all time. Now, this one I did get used and has some markings, but it turns out some of them are intentional. Matter of fact, like this down here and the discoloration there, that's actually because that's the way he looked. First off, he is a separate figure completely. He comes off of here. He has stirrups that come down here, and he has full articulation, 360 at the hands, double jointed elbows, 360 at the shoulders. Head will turn this. I mean, it's really creepy. I don't know if you caught that. Did you see that? All right. The way his head turns is just creepy. It doesn't have a forward or back, but he does have a ball joint in his chest, and his legs, have a 360. Now, my one critique would be that the horse has a little difficulty standing, but it's not bad. I've had him in one pose until I just moved him today for over a year, maybe 2 years. Now you just want to hold the stirrups out like so, and then you just move his foot into it, and you move the toe. By the way, there's actually toe joint, so you have 360 swivels. You have you have a ball joint, so you have a swivel, a slide, and rotation, and a toe joint on the foot of this guy. He has a double jointed knee. So he comes with his huge sword. Now once again there's the problem. Now it could simply be that my figure's a little bit, he's been around for a while, but like I said, mine has not fallen from its place. The reason being is, check this out. The horse has articulation. Take a look at the horse's eyes. Look how realistic that is. There's more of a rubbery PVC texture, but they're different hardnesses of the. So this feels more like armor, whereas that feels more like flesh PVC. Now down in the legs, they use hard PVC, probably for obvious reasons that they need to be a little bit stronger. Now, as you can see, you can articulate. Now you can articulate the legs however you want. You can move it up at the knee. You can move it down here. There's one, two, three joints on each part. Now while that makes it awesome for opposing, it also can lead to long-term, being loose if you do it too much. So that's why I've left him in his one pose for so long. And of course, this was the pose he was seen and died in. Now, you can lean him forward, and even here, you want to see more detail. He has where he can hold down on there. He has the reins. The reins come from the horse's mouth and all the way to his hand over here on the side. Absolutely amazing figure. And then let's go ahead and get him off. Let's get him off of this. Come on. Being gentle here. Okay, come on. Now it's balanced for him to be on it. So, as you can see, he has a 360. Now he has, as with ToyBiz did with all the Nazgul, a dirty, torn up. Now he's not a Nazgul. I want to make that clear. I'm not saying that. But as with all of pretty much, as we saw in the movies, as we read in the books, Sauron's guys didn't exactly have the cleanest look. So they intentionally, all this is intentional, and it matches the movie quite well, especially if you slide this up. But I did want to show you that he does have an excellent sheath, and his sword, the handle is huge, and it's the ancient Numenorian sword. and it has runes on it. Let me get a close up, and I'm trying to make this part as fast as possible, by the way, so that we can get to the lore and combine it all. There we go. And let's see, can I get a little zoom? There we go. It's hard to see, but in the notches, in the grooves, you can see that it was used. It's got little dings like a real sword would have, and it has the runes in. I can't think of the name of the language right now. I have it written down, but he is known as the Mouth of Sauron, and he was I a lot of people say, oh yeah, he was from around the Second Age, but that's not very likely because he was referred to, his whole skirt is going to fall down. He really is designed to be on the horse and not by himself. But okay, look at this face. A face only a mother could. Well, I don't know if a mother could love it. This sounds more like a Jersey Devil type of situation where she slaps it, throws it out the window, and turns into a 400-year-old beast. Anyway, um, so you have that 360, but look at that. Look at the detail. Let's see if we can look at his mouth. Let me see if I can hit a focus on that. Look at that. I bid thee welcome. You had different textures here again. Different. I mean, they were doing this was in 2001, 2003. They were making these, and just now, 16 years later, Hasbro's doing it. Of course, for like 3 times the price. Now, of course, these are much more valuable. The average price, by the way, you can get him loose, sometimes without the sword. You have to make sure, is it complete? Does it have everything like this one does? If it's complete and in good shape, this one I consider in good shape. This is the way it's supposed to be. I managed to talk the guy down to 50 2 years ago. Um, I would suggest anywhere I've looked on there, I've seen a range that's kind of crazy. I've seen some that have sold at 130, and I've seen some that have sold at 75, and I even saw one that sold at 60. Now, boxed was about $150. Boxed, brand new, mint condition box. Box damaged, 100 to 135. Loose, like I said, anywhere in the range between 50 and 100, but that's dependent on condition. If incomplete, I would talk down to 40, 45. But if he is complete, go for that. Okay, once again, I can show you the hand. Does have that double jointed, and even has the windshield wiper effect. He even has his, let's see, look at that, his necklace there. Real, he was an evil sorcerer, but he was also, as you know, Aragorn was a Numenorian, a descendant of the Numenorians. Thank you, horse, for coming down so he could get into his stirrups, just like a real horse would. Um, and so he, it's more likely that he's not thousands of years old, but rather he was probably around. He was found and gave his way to the dark side, if you will, completely, 100%, so much so that he was the lieutenant. He was the man. He was the voice of Sauron. He was, if you want to, another analogy, if you will, a prophet of Sauron, because he had his full will and word at his command. That was now the only ones that outranked him, of course, were the Ringwraiths. Now, at that time in the movie, as we all know, and in the books, the Ringwraiths were, well, I should say the Witch King. He was dead. So this man, this being, who was actually a sorcerer, a very powerful sorcerer. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to get, it's a little hard to get the lasso into this one part, but once you do, it's worth it, and you hold it up, okay, and you try to hold him up, and there we go. And then we're just going to move the armor back up where it was. Okay, it came loose, but I can fix it. Even the horse tail, by the way, if you can see. Hopefully it didn't go out of focus. I promise you, I'm upgrading my camera very soon. Alright, so there we go. Let's just get this. Let's get a view of him that is just... I like to have his hand up, but we'll have it like that. There we go. Let's get it. There we go. There he is. There he is. Okay, so with 10 minutes in, let's quickly go into the lore. I have a reading voice, by the way. People ask if I change it for that. No, I was trained to give talks and speeches, and when I do, that's just how I do it. I might add a little something special here or there, but anyway, the Black Numenorians had established their dwellings in Middle Earth during the years of Sauron's domination and worshipped him. The mouth of Sauron entered the service of the Dark Tower when it first rose again. And then under his cunning, he learned the powers of Sauron. He learned sorcery, and it actually impressed Sauron, of course, because how do you impress somebody that's evil? Well, act evil. So that's how he got moved up. The book version is a little different. He basically asks who the ambassador is, but Aragorn's gaze frightened him, which that kind of matches. But he assumed that Gandalf was the ambassador and delegate. He brought forth Sam's sword, a gray cloak with elven brooch, and Frodo's vest. And he said that the fate of the spy. This is the big difference between the movie and the books. The fate of the spy who carried them would depend on their actions, and insinuated that if they did not do as Sauron commanded, the spy would be tortured for many years. Now, I mean, it is similar, but I do believe that he said that they one or both were dead in the movie. Correct me if I'm wrong. I would feel really bad if I was wrong, so definitely correct me on that. But we all know how this thing goes. Aragorn. In the book, it's a longer version, but Aragorn ultimately takes off his head. Good for you, Aragorn. This guy was a complete. This guy made creeps seem nice. Um, so as far as that goes, he was the chief lieutenant at the time with the Witch King Gong. Of course, the Nazgul would have outranked him, but as far as the gate, the physical things, he was in charge of. The trolls knew, everything knew that even though this was a quote unquote man, in reality he was basically like Aragorn's opposite in a way. He chose the dark path, and he could have been 90 with his sorcery. He could have been 100 something. It doesn't matter. He wasn't thousands of years old, but he was going back to Guldur before the Battle of the Five Armies. He was there, but he's not officially acknowledged until the second uh, tower went up, the Tower of Sauron. So that would be what 50 years, 40 years. So you could even assume that he may have been younger, but for him being a Numenorian. Now, by Numenorian, it's the same. It's not that he is directly a Numenorian that lived forever. He was descended like Aragorn from them, so he lived a long time. Once again, this is ToyBiz, and it's awesome. I mean, even down to here where you might think this is a problem, it's not. This is the way it's supposed to look, because it's obviously the horses were not exactly well treated, and they themselves had magics used upon them to make them more evil. Not quite as evil as the Nazgul with the red eyes, but still. It's an amazing figure. It's probably next to Sauron himself, and perhaps maybe three others that I'll show you hopefully soon. He's one of my favorite figures, and he's one of my favorite characters just because he came out of nowhere. He surprised everybody when he came out in the extended version. By the way, you do know in the original version of the Peter Jackson movies, he was not in there, and it really feels like, after having only watched the extended editions for a long time, like he really always should have been in there. As far as his overall height on the horse, he is very top of that. We could call that about 10 inches at the very top of the crest of his helm. The horse's head comes up to just under 8 inches. The overall length, let's go ahead and turn him real quickly. The overall length is, we'll call that 8 inches. Well, with the tail included, it's 9.5 inches. So you're getting quite a bit, and with it boxed, it would be even more awesome. As you can see, it's not falling over constantly or anything like that. They had balance. They all, and like I said, each foot leg has one, two, three joints of the horse. The neck has a joint. So you have articulated horse, articulated armor that you can move around and adjust however you please. It helps to, when you're adjusting him, whatever position you want him on the horse. If you want him leaning forward like he's rushing, or if you want him just kind of chilling like he was in the movie, the one I went for was kind of like how he just kind of came up, in which case I need to bring that right leg down. But for now, I'll just leave it as I have him posed because, like I said, he stayed in that pose for years. I'm hoping he won't start falling over now. Anyway, it's an excellent figure. Lastly, I want to just say some of my favorite quotes. First off, is there any in this route with authority to treat with me, or indeed with wit to understand me? It need more to make a king than a piece of elvish glass, or a rabble such as this. I have some tokens that I was bidden to show thee, to thee especial, if thou shouldst dare come. Surety you crave, Sauron gives none. If you sue for his clemency, then you must do his bidding. But they shall help to rebuild Isengard, which they have wantonly destroyed, and that shall be Sauron's, and there his lieutenant shall dwell, not Saruman, but one more worthy of trust. Speaking of himself, so at this point, the Witch King is dead. Sauron moves on, pretty fast from him. He's not sentimental, but those are from the book. Obviously, it's very close. I'm not even going to touch the fact that the movies are a masterpiece. I love them, but that is that. By the way, there should be picture within picture going on in the left, I think upper left side corner. If I'm unable to get that to work because of the jury rig system I'm having to do my videos with right now until I get a PC after my PC was stolen, then it may be a photo gallery at the end of the video that will start immediately at the end of the video, okay? So hopefully, though, we can get that little picture-in-picture, and even if it kind of sometimes goes over a piece or whatever, that way we've shown everything of him and just giving you a little bit more. And I'll only do that once I started this full lore part. As far as the one thing that I had written down, put stars all around it, was that, let's see, there's not that much else on him, really. He became the lieutenant of Barad-dur, the Dark Tower, and commanded the orc armies of Gorgoroth, communicating directly with Sauron. He truly was the mouth and voice and will of Sauron, but he was not tied via a ring. He was tied via his own sorcery and his own dark will. He just wanted to serve. Like I said, so we'll just leave it with the quote from the book. A tall and evil shape, mounted upon a black horse. The rider was robed all in black, and black was his lofty helm. Yet this was no Ringwraith, but a living man. His name is remembered in no tale, for he himself had forgotten it. Which tells you all you need to know about this guy. It's an excellent figure. It's a 10 out of 10 okay, I never give a 10 out of 10. 9.5 out of 10. I refuse to give anything because nothing in this world is truly perfect. Therefore, nothing should get a 10 out of 10 in my opinion, unless it actually is somehow perfect. But this is a great figure. I highly recommend it for any collector out there, Lord of the Rings figures. Also, it's really worth looking up and talking and going into the many different you can go to reddits and all that. There's places where we just talk about all the characters and talk about the ToyBiz figures and talk about all that, and even the newer figures and the newer accessories like the blades and the bust and the head sculpts and all that. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night, and definitely hope you enjoy this. And if you can, please leave a like if you did like this, and a comment down below. Let me know what you think. And possibly, if you're new, please hit that subscribe button. That would help me out greatly, at least just in motivation terms. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video, which will be next week. Yes, I am going to stick to it. Alright, thank you so much. Bye for now. See you in the next video. Have some gaming videos coming up soon.